Hello, this is the not the city of love, but it is pretty damn class. So welcome to the beautiful Venice. So sit back, relax, and let me sing you into love. Love you. Hello and welcome to this episode of How to Be a Great GM, if not a great tenor. No, definitely not. We're talking the 5 love languages of game masters. Now, don't worry, this is not all weird kind of how to date a game master, although maybe that might be a good video to make actually as well. You're going to have someone who's obsessive, compulsive and dedicated to their world before they even look at you. No. We're talking the love languages. Now, the love languages come from Graham Chapman. He wrote a book in 1992 that outlined the 5 love languages. And to be perfectly honest with you, I worked on a television series that explored the 5 love languages in great detail. And I have to admit, I subscribe to them very much so. I've seen them in action so many times to not refute them. Now, I'm not trying to convert you to a love language aficionado. It's simply a way of how do we accept people into our lives and how do we show gratitude towards them. I don't want to say necessarily how do we love them back, but that's what it boils down to. So we're going to be going through those as a guideline for how we should be doing something for our game masters that perhaps we don't do very often. Should I have kept this for February? No, because we shouldn't only do it once or twice a year. We should be doing this on a regular basis. And it's not just game masters either, by the way. So Graham Chapman, he developed this. This is for real life. This is for your gaming life, for your friends. These 5 love languages, you can find them on the internet. You can actually go and do a test to see what is your love language as a result. Now, these are guides. They're not rules. This is human psyche, mumbo-jumbo, fibble-fabble stuff. It is something that some people hold true, some people don't hold it to be true. It's not a guide. It is a guide, it's not a rule. That's important. It might give you some insight, it might give you some direction, it might give you some caution. Oh, this person thinks that this is the best way to do things as opposed to that. Maybe I should change my tactic and it might improve my friendship. And then, of course, test it out. Always test it out. Maybe you kind of go, I think the GM would appreciate it if I did this. Let's try it. Didn't seem to work at all. Okay, let's try a different tactic. What am I talking about? Why the 5 love languages? Well, the whole idea is showing appreciation for the GM, for the person around you. And how do you do that? How do you show appreciation for the people at your table? And this is a very genuine question that I'm putting to you now. How do you show the people that get together around your table, whether it's online or in real life, how do you show them that you appreciate them being there? Do you show them? And I think that is the bottom line. And that's what spurred me on to make this video, was that I was sitting there realizing and saying that, you know, I don't tell my players or my GMs when I have them often enough that I actually really appreciate their contribution to my existence. I arrive, we chat, we talk, we drink, we eat, we play games, I go home. But I never actually express my gratitude. So this entire video is on doing just that, but on doing it in such a way that it actually makes sense. So what are the 5 love languages? We're going to unpack those very quickly. The first one is words of affirmation. Words of affirmation is the general idea of literally saying, I think you did a great job. I really appreciate the way that you did the NPCs. I thought your rules calling was great. I'd love you to show me how you came up with that solution at some point in the future. This is a simple thing to do, and yet we so often forget to do it. Some people, it doesn't have any effect on them. It's like, well, all right, whatever. Some people it has a huge effect on, a huge effect. So things like great game, really enjoy that game. But not just a case of, hey, great game, Frank, thanks, bye. But it's a case of saying, hey, I just want to say, I think it was a great game today. Time flew by. It was just brilliant. It was great. It was really, really, really good. Thank you. You have to be sincere, and you have to mean it. This is not lip service. This is not brownie point stuff. This is real. Okay, this is real, and a lot of people don't know how to do this. But for some GMs, that doesn't mean anything. They go, yeah, okay, good, right, thanks, bye. Some people, words of affirmation don't mean a thing. Acts of service. Get your mind out of the gutter. Acts of service. Hey, I made spell cards, and I'm going to use those so that the game runs faster. What do you think of that, GM? I made some spell cards so that the game runs faster. I made spell cards for you. Okay, it's kind of like a gift, but acts of service. You do things. I brought this. I'm going to do this for the table. I'm going to arrive a little bit earlier. I'm going to help you set up. I'm going to put glasses on the table. I'm going to get chairs organized. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to whatever. I'm going to be helping. I'm going to do little things to make your space better. For some GMs, they're going to be going, oh, that's so nice. That's so kind. What you're doing is you're showing your appreciation. Other GMs are like, oh, sure, knock yourself out. Well, a couple of, it's all. You don't have to do that. Actually, I like to do it. So just stay away. Right. So again, it's about reading the love language of your GM. I bought a calendar that we can all track on, and I'm going to keep that calendar on track, and I'm going to share it with you from time to time. Again, acts of service, little things, doing little things to show that you appreciate the GM. Receiving gifts. This one is often misinterpreted as straight up bribery. Hi GM, love the game. Here's some new dice so that my character gets that magic sword +3. Yeah, doesn't it remind you of a couple levels worth? Oh, I bought you these minis. Look, they cost $1,000. I'm giving them to you because I'd really like you to include them in the next session because I really like fighting skeletons, and we haven't done any skeletons recently. It's not a bribery mechanic. It is not that at all. This entire thing, even paper or cupcakes, all right, all of this is meaningless. What is of value is, hey GM, I found this mini, and it reminds me of you. So here's a mini of you. Because I when I saw that, I was like, that reminds me so much of Heather. I think that's just perfect. That's brilliant. The receiving or the giving of gifts is in thinking about the person whilst purchasing said object. It might be nothing. It could be as simple as, here we are, GM. I brought you a cup of coffee because we were in the kitchen and we were all getting stuff, and I noticed that you were here busy doing all your notes and stuff. So I appreciate you're so busy. I just made a cup of coffee for you. It's bringing a gift, isn't it? It's a gift of I've made coffee. It's so simple. Some GMs will be like, yeah, all right, thanks, put it down, and they're not going to pay any attention to it. Oh, you were thinking about me whilst you were out shopping? That's kind of weird. Again, does it work? Doesn't it work? You have to test it out. You have to try it out. Okay, let's carry on this. Quality time. I feel so ashamed. I've mentioned this before. A player wanted to spend quality time with me, and I was too busy. I pushed them away. It was horrid, absolutely horrid, and it was sending a very incorrect message, which needs to be rectified. So one has to do that. One has to rectify. So quality time. Hey, I want to read your history of your world. Can we, rather than me reading up my own, could we sit down and we'll talk about the history of your world? Because I love what you do. Hey, let's discuss character growth. Let's discuss, what about you? How are you doing? How spending quality time with the GM might be doing stuff. Hey, GM, do you want me to run a game for you? Because you're always running games. Can I run a game and you can play in the game? Quality time. Can I sit and cut paper minis out with you? Right? Quality time is very important. I know for me personally, quality time is very, very important. If I am taking time out of my day to spend time with you, it needs to be, it's a sign that I want to spend time with you. This is something that's very important. Physical touch, if appropriate. Not everybody appreciates a hug or a clap on the back or, esophageal inspection with tongue, for example. Might be too far, and I would never advocate that. But a hug, A hug for some people can be amazing. That session was brilliant. Good job. It's as simple as that. Or I just want to shake your hand. I think that was brilliant. That was just brilliant. It's something that doesn't necessarily express itself in role-playing, between role-playing buddies, a clap on the shoulder. Man, that was fun. It could be as simple as that. It doesn't need to be anything more intimate than that. And it must be if it's appropriate. It really must be if it's appropriate. And never the dice. Just remember that. Never touch someone's dice. Ever. So, not all of them work, and we respond to more or less to each one. So for me, when someone gives me a gift, I'll look at it, and yes, it was nice that they were thinking about me, and I am slightly touched by it, but maybe that's not as important as words of affirmation for me. I far prefer it if someone tells me that they enjoyed their game. If they give me gifts and stuff, like, oh, okay, that's nice, but tell me that you like the game. Or let's spend quality time working in that game space. That's rewarding for me as a personal individual. For you, it might be very different. So that's something to bear in mind. Now, there are some things that we must be aware of, and I've mentioned some of these already. But location, culture, and group limits. Know your group space. This means touching. This means inappropriate language. Something that could be catastrophic is if you are trying to express your admiration for the GM and the GM's husband, wife, or significant other is standing next to them. You're like, I love you. I think you're brilliant. I think you're amazing. You're just, I want to have your babies. That's how good a GM you are. I mean, that's just that might cause significant problems. So be aware of the culture, be aware of the location. Culture here in Japan. I love hugging people. Not in this country. I get looked at weirdly if I tap someone on the back and go, hey, how you doing? It's like, whoa. I have to be very aware of that fact. And I have friends who do not like being touched at all. Don't even come near me with a hug or a handshake. Okay, absolutely. So be aware of those limits. Know your group and your group's space. Bribery versus care. As I mentioned, do this because you mean it, because you want to show affection, but you don't know how. That's what this video is about. So it is not about bribery. Bring me cupcakes all day long. I will still run the game exactly how I wanted to, but perhaps a little bit faster because of the sugar that's contained within the cupcakes, because you know I'm going to eat them all. Not all the time. This is not about every session going, brilliant session, you are a rock star, mind blown, oh my God. That's not what that's not the point. That's not the point. It's also a case of not once every 10 years. Yeah, all right. Pretty good. It's not that either. It's about going, hey, I really enjoyed the game. But then knowing how and what is the most appropriate way to express it. That's the key. That is absolutely the key. So that is Gary Chapman's 5 love languages, which I think are appropriate for real life interactions, but also for just occasionally shining some light, shedding some love towards your GM and possibly your fellow players too. Why not? How do you show your appreciation for the contributions that your GM and the rest of the players around the table make? How do you do that? Let us know down in the comments below. So let's share, let's care, and well, maybe we just make someone's day one day. Until next time, however, I wish you and yours the very happiest of communicating in a loving and caring way.